Alright, let us look at another quadratic equation problem, this time dealing with ages. 2 years ago, a man's age was 3 times the square of his son's age. In 3 years' time, his age will be 4 times his son's age. Find their present ages. So if you notice in this question, there are three time zones that are being referred to. One is the present, one is 2 years ago, and one is 3 years later. So we will also categorize the data in these three time zones, and it will be easy to solve the problem if we look at it in this manner. Present ages, 3 years later, 2 years ago. And let's say this is the man and this is his son. So we begin the solution by assuming that the son's age is x and the man's age is y. That means 2 years ago, the man's age would have been y minus 2 and the son's age would have been x minus 2. Similarly, 3 years later, the man's age would be y plus 3 and the son's age would be x plus 3. Now we look at the question for the relation between their ages 2 years ago. It says 2 years ago, a man's age was 3 times the square of his son's age. So the man's age was 3 times the square of his son's age. That will give us this. So if you open the brackets on the right hand side, this will become 3 times x square minus 4x plus 4, and this would become 3x square minus 12x plus 12, and I'm going to bring 2 to the other side, plus 2, that's y. So y would become 3x square minus 12x plus 14. So we have a relation between y and x. Let's call this equation number 1. Now if you look at the relation between their ages 3 years later, it says in 3 years time, his age here means the man's age, will be 4 times his son's age. Now 3 years later, the man's age is y plus 3, and that is going to be 4 times the son's age, that is x plus 3. So here we have y is equal to 4x plus 12 minus 3, or y becomes equal to 4x plus 9. Let's call this equation number 2. Since both equation number 1 and 2 are in terms of y, we can equate the two. So we say equate 1 and 2. We can write 3x square minus 12x plus 14 is equal to 4x plus 9, which gives us the quadratic 3x square minus 16x plus 5 is equal to 0. So if you observe, the product is 5 times 3x square, the product is 15x square, and the sum is negative 16x. So we can break this into minus 15x minus x, the product of which will give us 15x square. So I'm going to write this quadratic as 3x square minus 15x minus x plus 5 is equal to 0. I take 3x common, becomes x minus 5. I take minus 1 common here, again this becomes x minus 5, all equal to 0, which implies the factors are 3x minus 1 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now for 3x minus 1 equal to 0 implies x must be 1 upon 3, and for x minus 5 equal to 0 implies x is 5. Now if you look at this value of x, we have assumed the son's present age is x. So if you assume the son's age is 1/3 of a year, which is a month's baby, 2 years back the age of the son will become negative, so it doesn't make sense, right? So we have to neglect this. So we write neglect, since son's age 2 years ago becomes negative, therefore the son's present age is 5 years, and using this equation we can figure out the father's age. Y is equal to 4x plus 9, so we substitute from equation number 2, y becomes 4 times 5 plus 9, that is 29. So the final answer is son's present age, man's present age. This is 5 years, this is 29 years. And that is the final answer.